Hey everyone, this is Iradian, and hopefully I I've tested the mic again, but the first 50 seconds of the last video, the audio was super fucky, and I don't know why. I'm sorry, but that's not supposed to happen. It's the first time that's happened, but okay. I'm covering the effects section. This video shouldn't be as long as the last one because there's not a lot to cover. And you'll notice there aren't even that many articulators. You can control the panning of the effects and the volume. Uh, Panning, this is the panning of the signal before it goes into the effects. So this would be hard left going into the effects. It would be completely to the left. Chorus, so by default it's at 4 for whatever reason. I guess 4, I don't know. Um, but at 0 it's off. There's no chorus when it's at 0. Unison, you'll remember it's off when it's at 1. Chorus, it's off when it's at 0. So the way chorus works is it adds flangers to the signal, and it's not exactly like unison. It does produce a similar effect. It's more of a poor man's unison, I guess you could say. So with this, we have added 9 flangers, and that's going to produce a smooth pitch effect similar to what unison makes usually. So chorus depth, this knob or this slider controls the amount of pitch modulation in each flanger. So this would be a lot of pitch modulation. This would be a very little amount. So there'd be a very small range. Um, it would look something like this. Very little depth. This would be 100% pitch modulation. That's kind of a visual representation. Speed, that's how fast it is. So, very fast. It wouldn't be that fast, but you get the idea. The speed of the pitch modulation. It's like you could think of it a little bit like a pitch LFO on each flanger. Delay. This sets the amount of time before each flanger comes in. It's usually a very small amount, but if you turn the spread down, it becomes a lot more noticeable. So the spread, it controls the range between each flanger in terms of chorus depth and speed and delay. That's basically what it does. It's not stereo spread. It's a range control for a few parameters. I think it's these 3. I'm pretty sure it is. Cross. What this does is it mixes a chorus signal into the opposite speaker. So this would be 100% into each speaker. So the left speaker would be having its signal would be going completely into the right speaker as well, and vice versa. So the right speaker would have its signal go into the left speaker. This would be phase inverted. And the wet volume just controls the amount that you hear. What you can do with this send thing, and something I don't usually do, is you can direct only the effects to a mixer channel. So right now it'd be going to track 13. You'll notice it can go negative as well. And how this works is, let's say we're routing the track to, we'll say 69. It's going into -9, which would be 60. I'm pretty sure it's 60. I'm not good at math, but I think 60 minus 69 minus 9, that should be 60. And that's the send level. So the volume it's going into send number 60. You can do this with any track, basically. And there you go. That's your send. Fairly obscure function, but it's there. 3 delays. I hate stuttering. I'm sorry. You have 3 delays, and you can feed them into each other if you press serial. So delay 1, serial goes into delay 2. Activate serial goes into delay 3. Activate serial, the delay 3 will go into the reverb. So if you don't have the serial on, the delays and the reverb, I think, will be separate. Tempo. Tempo locks the delays to the host tempo. So right now, my delays would be locked to 174 beats per minute. cable just cracked. That was pretty sick. Oh, don't forget you have to turn your delays on. Feedback, that's the amount of echoes before the delay becomes silent. Time, it's the amount of time in beats between each echo. Stereo offset will delay one speaker, one stereo delay. Shit. So the positive value will delay the right speaker delay, and a negative value will delay the left speaker delay. At completely center, there won't be any stereo delay. So if you don't want stereo delay, set it to the middle. Alt-click them will reset them, and that goes for any slider or knob, pretty much, in here. Even in the Matrix, by the way. This is just a side note, but Alt and left click will reset a knob in Sytrus and FL Studio in general. I just alt-click the track number. So there's that. Wet volume, pretty self-explanatory how audible it is. Normal, typical delay of the signal. Inverted will switch the left and right stereo channels once, and ping pong will do it continuously. So that's your delays. And then reverb, you have your color control here. So what this does, it's kind of like an EQ response setting for your reverb. So this would be, it starts at W plus, which is warmer, and then you can go warm, flat, bright, brighter. So brighter is, it's oriented towards the high frequencies, whereas warmer is oriented towards the low bass frequencies. Tempo, lock to tempo, on, turn the reverb on, pretty important. Low cut, it's the frequency below which there will be no reverb. So for example, if I have a low cut of 3000 hertz, there will be no reverb below 3000 hertz. It's not exactly an exact cut. You're gonna have some bleeding, I think, but that's what it's supposed to do. High cut, same thing, but for the high frequencies. So if your low cut is at the bottom, it will be off. High cut at the top, it will be off. So whatever's in between these two, that's the reverb you're gonna get, pretty much. So 3000 is actually the top, but you gotta be careful where your frequencies are. So right now I have reverb between 3000 and 3600, pretty much. Pre-delay is the amount of time between the signal and when the reverb starts. So this would be a 1 second delay. Room size, it's the size of the room, how big the room is. Larger sizes tend to be less audible, kind of, or more spread out, so to speak. It's kind of related to the diffusion. Diffusion, when it's very low, the reverb is almost like a series of noticeable echoes, whereas when the diffusion is high, it's more of the reverb we usually think of. It's very smooth, and it's not very echoey. Decay, how long the reverb takes to decay to nothing, I guess. High damping, it's a bass, high frequency cutoff. It's like the frequencies are getting absorbed. The high frequencies get absorbed, so it's kind of a realistic setting, I guess. Real reverbs tend to have not as much high frequencies, but electronic music, I guess there's more, you can get those shimmery reverbs, right? I can talk, I promise, I'm sorry. Wet volume. That's pretty self-explanatory as well. Panning, you can control the envelope. Like every time you press a note, panning goes like whoop, left to right. And by the way, don't forget that you have pointers up in the top left. So see, I'm moving this point around, and it's saying where in the stereo field the effects will be at any given point. Same thing in the LFO key mapping. I'm going to go over the articulators in another video. I think it's the next video. But I think that wraps up effects. Yeah, that'll do it for effects. See ya.